So it's the allotment open day tomorrow at Sheffield Road Allotments, and I'm Steve, and this is my seaside allotment. So I'm going to do a tour in a minute, but I should be tidying up, of course, because it's open day. But unfortunately, part of tidying up means clearing out all the dead and thick leaves of the brassicas. So I'm mixing it with a nice batch of horse manure and chopping it up in this compost bin, and I'll show you that when I've finished and I'll give you a tour. So it's on with the tour. So this is the compost bin that I made this week, and as you can see, it's a good mix of sawdust shavings and horse manure, and in this case brassica cuttings and apples and bits and pieces. And it's now very nicely at 60 degrees centigrade, so that's pretty good. And I've got one bin that's ready for turning, one bin that's finished, and one bin that's well on. And there's Debbie heading to her plot. So this bed, just tiny seedlings a month ago. I've got some bolt hardy beetroot here, sister fly carrots here, some onions here, turnips, radishes, and then half of this bed is beetroot and the other half is chard. And you can hardly tell the difference, of course, but these are cylindria, and they're growing nicely. I'm growing these for storage. One of my friends on the allotment, Peter, he gave me some cylindria last year and they kept fantastically. So so that's that whole area there is beetroot for storage. And raspberries, summer raspberries, not been fantastic in this first season, but they're okay. And autumn raspberries are just coming on stream. As you can see, it is very windy here today. Gooseberries have all finished, got a freezer full of those. We left this rhubarb, we didn't pick from it because it was a bit weak last year, so I thought we'd give it a go. Wet recovery, and then more gooseberries, all heavily picked. So we've got some carrots in here. And these carrots have done fine, but these carrots, there's not a ton of them, and I have no idea. I've planted 2 lots of stuff in here. All I can think is it's slugs. So the carrots just do not come up, or if they come up, they've gone. So it's been a bit of a disappointment. So I've got to figure out something else. So the beans are now doing fantastic. These beans planted very late, in the ground, not in pots, just with some dwarf Frenchies around the outside. I think I just popped this bed in and planted it up, lettuce and brassica. More beetroot. Mostly those are going to be for eating rather than storage. And then I've got some radicchio, battered by the wind, but it seems to be doing okay. Lost a few leaves, unfortunately. And I've just planted this bed up, and it's a whole mix of different things. Mostly Salanova lettuce and some aromath. And then some grenoble lettuce in here. No sign of anything yet, needs a bit of water, I think. So these are my golden beetroot. Very, very pleased with these. These are in the hotbed, which of course isn't hot now. I had to put this mesh cover on because the birds were just annihilating it. But it's all growing very nicely now. So very pleased with that. That's all going to be for storage. And then the first onion crop is in the greenhouse drying. there's most of the red onions have been picked now, but the golden onions, white onions haven't. They're mostly still in the ground, but on Jennie's plot. Spring onions in here have been very battered in the wind, very badly damaged. Look. I can see the prevailing wind direction, and unfortunately they were my primary spring onions for the next 3 weeks, so they are still eatable, but they don't look very nice. And then carrots for winter. So a bit of a view while I'm clearing up. So here's my leeks. You should remember these leeks were planted as tiny little seedlings 2 months before everybody else planted their leeks, and they seem to have done just fine. Of course there was a little bit of rust on them, but not much, and I've given them a feed that's rich in potassium, which somebody told me is good for rust. So then more seedlings, spinach bed, and lots of lettuces, a little gem, some radish, and some more spinach, different varieties. Is another bed, supposedly, of carrots, and again, no sign. I just do not know what's happened with the carrot germination. So of course those carrots are doing fine in the bed next door. Who knows what is going on? This is our current lettuce bed, and we don't have much lettuce in the ground at the moment because of course we're just really preparing for autumn and winter. So more carrots. Again, 2 beds. This one, germination perfect. No idea what is different between the beds apart from maybe this looks. Some more golden beetroot, again for storage. Some chicory. This is whitloaf chicory for making chickens in the for Christmas. Kale. It's got loads and loads of kale on Jennie's plot, but it's nice to have some diversification. And I won't bother opening this one, but again, carrots, parsnips, and carrots. And of course the parsnips are kind of overpowering the carrots a little bit. I'll have to do something about that. And then my French beans, which if you've been watching these videos I've been eating for over 2 months, and they are fantastic still. They do absolutely brilliant in this polytunnel, and it's normally quite heavily vented, but it's extremely windy at the moment, so I've got it on its low vent setting. These little venting blocks, and you can have a pretty bad gale blowing and it's quite happy on these little venting blocks. These polytunnels only ever get closed when there's a frost. So then again you can see the prevailing wind direction on the asparagus, which is doing pretty well at this end and pretty bad at that end. So again I've got one more polytunnel, and in this one is sweet potato, and this is doing beautifully. It was originally interplanted with lettuce. Now all the lettuce is gone because the sweet potato is taking up all the space. Very pleased with that. Of course sweet potato does need quite a lot of water, which means it's a bit of a pain in a polytunnel, but it is what it is. If I get sweet potatoes, I don't care. So, more beans, again, fabulous. And then these beds are currently empty apart from this one here. So this is New Zealand spinach, which is fabulous. It's great in salads, it's great cooked, it's great in smoothies, and it doesn't bolt. Absolutely great. Of course it will be out of here when the proper spinach starts, and then these beds, these 3 beds, everything comes out of these beds, and they get planted with the autumn and winter crops. And in fact I'm going to start the planting tomorrow, and then I'll basically plant every two weeks up until early September in these beds. And so this is my celery, which is very nice. So Debbie's been eating that, says it's okay. Bit of chard, that'll come out soon. And then what else have I got to say? Well, basically as things come out, like the carrots get picked, things like miner's lettuce and lamb's lettuce and things like that go in. So apart from the empty beds that you've seen, still more winter crops will be going in. So let's have a look here. So this is the last of the shallots, they're ready for picking now. These are onions in here and peas there, and now they're brassicas, and they're interplanted with lettuce and some of purslane, which is really nice actually. Never had that before. You see the weeds. So this is my garden compost. So I'm not very pleased with the fact that it's still got living weed seeds in it. It's been hot composted, but they still survived. So that's not great. And you can also see here, there's probably a slug or a snail or something like that in here. Anyway, problem for another day. So I've just put these little wooden seats in here. I did have paving slabs, but Debbie took the paving slabs for a little project on her plot, which we'll see when I do the tour next week. But I had lots of this spare wood, so that's worked out well. And I have a new water butt, so I now have 3 water butts in my water area, and a spare one over there, and I've got one right over there that you might be able to see, and another little dunking butt there. Now why have I got so much water here? Well, the main reason is winter. With all the undercover space that I've got here, and I've got quite a lot, this is about the amount of water that I need to keep it going, because I switched the water off in the allotment, on the allotment site in September. So yeah, need a lot of water. Ran out last year, and I've done a lot of tidying in my little shed, and it's now looking pretty smart. So the big change is this, which I used to have at home, but we have moved it here to make space for a fridge freezer in the garage, because basically we need a cooler for all of fridge, and we need a freezer for storage. So we finally made space, and here is all my weed killers and fertilizers and all that sort of thing. And I got these for free, and these are not organic, but they are quite nicely tuned to different problems. So I'm not really that bothered about being totally organic when it comes to fertilizer. If there's a problem that needs a low nitrogen feed or a high potash feed or something like that, yeah, well, it's nice and they're free, so who cares? So we're pretty much done. Other than that, maybe, and it's skipped over the little brassica bed here, and these are broccoli for winter, and this is the last of the summer broccoli, basically ready to be pulled out. These are my early sprouts, and if you have a peek in here, they are ready to eat. So that's pretty exciting. Only on that plant and that plant, so that's pretty good. So I think we will call it a day. That is the end of the August tour. Apples are doing nicely, pears are doing very nicely, strawberries, which are perpetual strawberries, are doing pretty good every day. Get a good few handfuls off there, keeps me going on a busy day. And that's it. So I think the next tour is Debbie's plot, and that will be next week. Lots of exciting stuff happened there, which I'm pleased to show you. Lots of stuff still to do on mine. It is our allotment open day tomorrow, and obviously if you can come it would be great, and if you can't, well, just enjoy this tour. So like, subscribe and all that, and until then, this is Steve on his seaside allotment, signing out.